Hi everybody, welcome back to Ox Talks. It is October 18th, 2023. Well, the stock market just closed and the Dow fell over 300 points today. I saw that the 10-year bond yield is up over 4.9%. Oil is approaching again $89 a barrel. I see that the spot gold price is up almost $30 again today, with silver pushing back towards close to $23 a troy ounce. The war drums continue to beat over with the Israeli conflict. It just seems like there's a whole lot of culminating events that are happening right now that to me just is sending a very ominous signal. I can't really put my finger on it. It's just a general unease that I have in the last several days. It seems like everything and everybody is just getting pushed to the limit. We received some news earlier that the rate on the popular 30-year mortgage just hit 8% today. There was an article that came out on the Zero Hedge just a couple hours ago titled, "As Mortgage Rates Hit 8%, U.S. Housing Affordability is at its lowest level since the 1980s. Says the average rate on the popular 30-year mortgage rate hit 8% Wednesday morning, according to Mortgage News Daily. That is the highest level since mid-2000. Quote, here's another milestone that seemed extreme just several short months ago, said Matthew Graham, Chief Operating Officer of Mortgage Daily News. As CNBC reports, to put it in perspective, a buyer purchasing a $400,000 home with a 20% down payment would have a monthly payment today of nearly $1,000 more than it would have been just 2 years ago. The article goes on to say, with supply falling to keep up with demand and mortgage rates marching towards 8%, now they're over 8%, housing affordability has deteriorated to a fresh all-time low in August. The NAR Housing Affordability Index clocked in at 91.7 in August, down from 93.9 in July. Anything below 100 indicates a household with a median income does not earn enough to be approved for a mortgage on a median priced home. This was the lowest reading since at least the early 1980s. The NAR figures highlighted that the typical family needed to earn $107,232 in August to qualify for a mortgage based upon 20% down payment. It was the third consecutive month of a six-figure headline number. That's incredible. You have to earn over $100,000 a year, and you have to have impeccable credit, and you have to have a 20% down payment on a $400,000 home. Do the math. That is a substantial cash position, and that's to get the 8%. Those that don't now are going to be pushing up much higher than that. We're going to be seeing 10% extremely soon, in my opinion. It says, meanwhile, the organization reported that the average family spent more than 27% of their income on annual mortgage payments. The National Association of Home Builders, the NAHB, Wells Fargo Housing Market Index, found that builder confidence in the real estate market for newly constructed single-family homes slumped for the third consecutive month in October. They're seeing lower levels of buyer traffic as some buyers, including younger families, are priced out of the market because of higher rates. And there was a quote by Fannie Mae that says, Fannie Mae projects that mortgage rates will hover in the 7% range for most of the next year before sliding to 6.7% by the end of 2024. It says, quote, this is Doug Duncan, Fannie Mae's Senior Vice President and Chief Economist. He says, with ongoing affordability constraints and rising mortgage rates, much of the activity has essentially been given back. We expect the higher mortgage rate environment to continue to dampen the housing activity and further complicate housing affordability into 2024. So it's all bad news, right? So what do you do? Well, if you are a young family, it seems to me that you are not going to have a lot of options right now to buy into this inflated housing market at 8% mortgage rate. So you're going to probably save money as you can and be patient. Wait until the rates at some point will have to turn and the pendulum will have to swing the other way. How soon will that be? I don't know. But you can only do what you can do. And to have that kind of income requirement, threshold requirement, and that kind of credit score in this environment is shocking. And I can understand why people are getting this feeling of malaise. They're short-tempered, they're more depressed. I get it. I can understand when you say, well, how am I going to get better? How am I going to make myself better? So what we can think about in terms of the silver lining is control what we can control. Do what you can do. You can control several things in your life which will have a positive impact. Number one, you can control your physical fitness. You can control doing exercise every day and trying to make your body stronger, your mind sharper. You can control how you prepare in case of unforeseen circumstances or emergencies. Have your food supplies, have your water supplies. You can work on those things little by little, and those are positive. Have your medical supplies. Think about how you're going to address an emergency or a grid down situation and get those things in order. We talk about almost every day on this show starting your own business and why it's so important from the financial aspect to be able to try to control your destiny and maximize the revenue stream or streams you have coming in for you and your family. And it appears from this data that it's going to be more important in the coming years that you have that opportunity and that you explore those options. This ties also back into the education issue. I did a video a few days ago about the student loan crisis and the inability of a lot of students to afford college. And if they do, they come out of college with these crushing amounts of student loan debt. I saw a very interesting article which ties into this as well. Again, I'm not telling people don't go to college. I went to a lot of years of college. And I did take out some loans for some of that college, and I paid those loans back. If you are entering into a profession like law or like medicine or like accounting, you're going to have to go to college to get a degree to then go on to graduate education and enter that field. You can't skip that. But there are lots of other fields where you may want to consider whether or not the college degree is going to actually advance your position in the workplace or workforce, or if it's simply going to be, a non-factor. This article is out of Fox News. It says U.S. companies increasingly eliminate college degrees as a requirement amid out-of-control school costs. And this was October 16th, a few days ago. It says American businesses are increasingly eliminating college degrees as part of their requirement for corporate roles, which is part of a wider trend in the U.S. job market that is de-emphasizing the value of a four-year diploma, according to experts. It says American companies like Walmart, IBM, Accenture, Bank of America, and Google have announced plans to reduce the number of jobs that require college degrees. It says between 2017 and 2019, 46% of middle skill occupations and 31% of high skill occupations saw a drop in college degree requirements, which could have a major implication on how employers find talent and open up opportunities for 2/3 of Americans without college educations, according to a report from the Burning Glass Institute. In line with the trend, the report projected that the move could open up 1.4 million jobs for American workers without college degrees over the next 5 years. So keep that in mind. If your skill set rests with something that may not require the four-year degree and therefore in some instances require you to take on debt to get that four-year degree, maybe you consider going right into the workforce. It says, this is from this person says, I have done this in my business and I've been very successful by focusing on the individual and these three simple things. Do they get it? Do they want it? And are they capable? If they nail those three things and are a culture fit, they're hired. It says still, of course, Cambaretto says that certain skilled positions in medical, accounting, and law need people with appropriate degrees. This, I thought, was the quote that brought it full circle to my video from a few days ago. It says, there are lots of things you can do without a college degree. Starting companies is easier because you are your own boss. You don't need to prove your skill set. You just need to make something people want. Entrepreneur Ted Jenkins told Fox News Digital that while many people strive for college degrees, he would rather hire someone that can prove they are dependable, reliable, and successfully complete the job. If you're going to work for a tech company, what's more important, a college degree, he says, or practical experience that you can code? He says, quote, it's becoming clear with the out-of-control cost of college education that the very word degree is getting watered down and companies want to hire people who can prove they can get things done. Another article to this point, which was from the Wall Street Journal a couple of days ago, says MBA job offers are in short supply as tech, finance, consulting dial back recruiting. The article says companies are dialing back or delaying hiring of MBAs this fall, a sharp turn from the supercharged recruiting seasons of years past. MBA, if you don't know, stands for Master of Business Administration. It's a postgraduate degree, and it's a very expensive to get those degrees in most instances. Any drop-off, this article says, in corporate demand for MBAs is starting for students who applied to graduate school in 2021 and 2022 during a white-collar hiring spree with swelling salaries to match. Since then, the three main sectors that hire MBAs at top schools have hit turbulence. Tech giants made big job cuts, consulting firms put start dates on hold, and deal-making slowed down in finance. It says things have changed on a dime, according to Akesh Patel, a second-year MBA candidate at Duke University's Fuqua School of Business. Patel, 29, said many of his classmates are looking for jobs after their summer internships didn't result in full-time offers, as is common in some cases. Companies said their performance was good, but the economic climate wasn't, according to Patel. And then lastly, I saw an article that came out on Yahoo Finance, I think it was yesterday. It says, billionaire AI investor advice to college students, get as broad an education as you possibly can. And he says, young people entering college face a dilemma. At a time when artificial intelligence is poised to disrupt much of the workforce, how do they ensure what they learn won't soon be rendered obsolete? And what this gentleman says, his name is, I'm going to slaughter his name, Vinyad Khosla. He says, the advice he gives to students is get as broad an education as possible because you don't know what is going to be relevant. He anticipates that 80 to 80% of all jobs will be made obsolete by AI in the coming decade. And that includes vocations in specialized, highly paid fields like accounting and medicine. To underscore the point, he says, oncologists, whom he says will be displaced by highly trained machines that possess far more knowledge and make far fewer mistakes. In light of all this, he says young people should use their time in college to get exposed to as many disciplines as possible, which will make them both more well-versed and more adaptable for a rapidly changing society. When I figured out after my first couple years of college that I wanted to go into law, I didn't know when I went into college that I wanted to go into law. I spent a couple of years figuring it out, taking different courses. And then starting my third year of college, I knew what I wanted to do. And so during the summers and during my free time, I would go and take work in the legal field with different types of attorneys. In college, I worked with a criminal law firm, and I remember it was a 21-year-old kid, 20-year-old kid, I was sitting in the back legal library, summarizing cases for one of the senior partners in this criminal firm. And I started to understand how criminal files work and how they argue the cases. I went and sat in court with him on many occasions and learned that aspect of the legal business. Like anything else, law has a whole lot of different areas that you can go into. Criminal, family law, what I do, business and real estate work, there's personal injury work. I mean, there's lists of different areas you can practice in law, and no lawyer specializes in everything. So then when I went into law school, it was a 3-year program, and every year I made sure I worked with a different type of law firm. I worked 1 year with a family and estate planning law firm, a tax planning firm. 1 year I worked with a family lawyer and learned the family law side of the business. And then the last year I worked in a business and real estate firm, and I not only learned the different areas, but I diversified my marketability and my skills, not knowing, what if I was going to be able to come right out of school and start my business. I ended up doing that, as I told you guys before, which I look back and don't regret a single day of it. So the point is if you're going to go to school and it's a trade where you need a college degree or a post-grad degree, think about what these people are saying about broadening your skill set while you're there. Get a broader based education, because you don't know what the workplace is going to hold when you come out. And likewise, if you're going to borrow money to go to school, please make sure that you borrow it judiciously and that you try not to overburden yourself with debt, because that's the #1 killer coming out of school, is having a debt burden that you can't meet. So with those items being said today, I hope that was helpful. Let's keep a watch on what's happening with the war and with the economic numbers. It looks very, very, very bad. Please make sure you get your half an hour fitness in today, drink your water, stay hydrated, and if you enjoy the content, please consider subscribing to the channel and sharing the video with the people that you know. Thanks a lot. See you tomorrow.